Welcome back to Riverfront Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network. Trent, the Cincinnati Reds have been winning. They've been winning, and it seems like they have no interest in losing, despite what everybody has been saying to expect from this team. And the question is, can it be sustained? Is there any historical reference or comparison that
Precedent, I think, is the word you were looking
that's
for.
the word I'm looking for. The wordsmith comes in and saves the day. Yes. Is there a precedent for the Reds as a franchise? Is there a precedent across Major League Baseball? Do the Reds have a chance? I'm a Reds fan, Trent. You've covered the team forever. And that's the question, really, that if you want to get down to it, that's the one everyone wants to know. So let's get right into it. All right. Welcome back to Riverfront Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network. Trent, the Reds currently are 4.5 games back in the wild card. They've been streaking. The Reds have been winning. Going into the trade deadline, after the trade deadline, I saw so many articles about Nick Krall and tweets and posts and comments. Nick Krall is done. Fire Nick Krall. Sell the team, get rid of the whole front office. You think you're riding the old vortex at Kings Island. That's a throwback, a roller coaster. So,
Hey.
So, and through it all, the Cincinnati Reds have been winning. So let's take a look. From the Reds' history, the Reds have made the playoffs. Maybe not as much recently, but we have made the team as recently as last season. At this point last season, the Cincinnati Reds were 59 and 55. So 4 games above 500. And at this point, we are 56 and 58, 2 games below 500. So we are 3 games off of the pace from last season. And Trent, you have been in the clubhouse speaking with the players, and I'm hearing different phrases. It seems like teams have a phrase that will catch on and become the rallying cry. We had the roaches or the cockroaches last season,
and not dead yet, or can't kill us. That's what it was.
Can't kill us.
Not dead yet is the Frank Turner song that I suggested. I don't know.
Hey, and our thumbnail today was something along the lines of won't die or they can't die or something like that. Yeah. Back from the dead or something like that. We've heard from I think it was Pagan who said, "Let's get weird. Let's have things get weird."
Yeah, that's right.
He said, "Let's get weird." We heard Tyler Stevenson, I think, said, "We've seen this movie before," talking about how this season kind of feels like last season for Tyler Stevenson and the team.
And it's super funny. Like you have it up there on the graphic that you had. And I mentioned this. I said something to Emilio about this today. It's like, and I think I even said something to somebody before the game. Like, I remember last year at when the A's swept them in Sacramento, it felt like that was one of those, like, okay, it's really over this time. And it wasn't. It pretty amazing. And so it was just funny that, like, they'd been dead a lot of times. And I think an article up on The Athletic right now, Emilio Pagan's just saying, like, yeah, it does seem familiar. It was where we were. And this is and it is funny that it was the Oakland, because that was the final pronouncement that year. Or, well, not final, because there was a lot of them even over the last 2 weeks, but that one really felt like it was done, and they were able to come back. Now, earlier I kind of outlined all the things in their way. Like, August, you have 17 games in 16 days, 5 against a 5-game series, including a doubleheader against the Cardinals, the team that's immediately ahead of you in both the division and wild card at this moment. And then, this road trip, you have games in 3 different time zones. You go to Arizona and San Francisco, as well as Chicago, and then also in the Eastern time zone here. And then you get to September, which you play the Cubs and then you play the Brewers and the Dodgers, then the Brewers again, then the Dodgers again. I think it's after that it's the Braves and then the Blue Jays to finish up. So again, they have a 3% chance according to Fangraphs. Last I looked, that sounds about right to me. But you know, play
So there's a
the old
chance.
Dumb and Dumber quote. There's a chance. So you're
So
saying there's
there
a chance.
is a chance. Yes, there is a chance. The Reds are not exactly where they were last year. And we'll play a video, Trent, that you have of you were speaking with one of the pitchers about that. How it feels kind of a lot like last season. There's some similarities. But let's take a look at MLB history right here. There is a chance. This has happened before. Teams under 500 at 114 games into the season, which is where the Cincinnati Reds are at right now, in the 162 game era. It's happened 6 times, as recently as 2 seasons ago with the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
Little sparse.
And then like some of these, the first 3 are back when you only had, before you had wild cards. The next 2 where you had, wait, when did they put in the second? I think the second came around 04, right? And then 09, I know you had 2, and then 3 with the Tigers. So
right.
All those are different kind of situations. And then that 84 Royals team next year.
You know something about them, right?
I do know something about the
84-85
era Royals. And and that 85 team was not, they had to really go on a run there at the end too to make the playoffs and edge the then California Angels in the old American League West.
Right. So it's honestly, with the recent changes in the wild card, like you said, it almost would maybe suggest that this is something that is more likely than history would indicate. That maybe could be in the Reds' favor.
Yeah, we already talked about
4%.
my aversion to betting, but 3%. That's 1%. It's a big difference. So yeah,
Fair.
so 3%. That's not a great chance, but there is a chance, and quite honestly, the team's playing good baseball, good entertaining baseball. And one of the other things you kind of look at, this is a team that again knows what they have got ahead of them. That big stretch with 17 games in 16 days, that can really mess with some pitching. You talk about some of that being an issue, and this is an maybe an underappreciated move that the Reds today picked up Ron Marinaccio off waivers from the Pittsburgh Pirates, a guy who's pitched for Pittsburgh. We just saw him, gave up a couple runs here in 2 innings for the Pirates against a Great American the other day.
Yeah.
But he's also pitched for the Yankees and the Padres, been in some of those games. They're going to need bullpen help. This is a bullpen guy that they're adding, probably get there for Saturday's game and be available Saturday, maybe tomorrow. That's huge, though, that they were able to add their going on the waivers wires. Kind of interesting, too. The since the trade deadline, you talk about not doing much, and they didn't. They gained one lower level player in this rebuild, but they have picked up Chase Selesky from the Rays, a right-hander, and put him in Louisville. They picked up Marinaccio. I don't know exactly how to say his name yet, but they picked him up to be able to theirs quietly. Brito the other day they picked up, because this is a team where they have their biggest holes are in the upper minors. And so especially when you promote guys like Hector Rodriguez, you need to fill in, and they did not have that talent at this juncture. And so, like I talked about the other day, you have 165. You're capped with 165 players in the minor leagues. So in order, not a lot of those trade deadline deals were getting those upper minor leaguers. To fill in that, what they did is they've watched some of these guys who have had to go on waivers, and they've added that depth in the minors. Now, some of those guys may not help you at the big league level directly, but they can help get you through, and like you don't run some of those guys in the minors into the ground. Those are important moves, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Another guy who got DFA'd yesterday or recently this week, Zach Littell. I wouldn't be shocked if Zach Littell wasn't a member of this team as soon as he clears waivers, because I don't know that anybody's going to pick up. I think he was making $5 million. I don't know that anybody's going to pick him up off waivers, and if he doesn't, he's a guy who left. Again, when you're talking about culture, this is a guy who they know and they like. Right. It's funny. Certain guys you always watch, and I talked about this a lot last year. There are guys who can move around a lot and never seem to go back to where they are. But when you see guys who go back to a team like a Gino Suarez, that tells you something about how teams feel about those guys.
Right.
Because you don't bring back guys you don't like. And I think it's really important to notice that. And when you're talking about a team that is, kind of trying to get by on some vibes right now, you don't want to really mess with that. And a guy like Zach Littell, who will come in and do whatever's asked, knows the verbiage, knows everybody, right, knows how to fit in, and already fits in. He's a guy that everybody likes. And I could see that happening. And also, if he clears waivers, which I would guess he would, it's up to him too. And I think he really enjoyed his time in Cincinnati. I talked to him earlier this year. He was a guy who wanted to come back. Another guy who got DFA'd, who may be able to come back, Austin Hayes. Same kind of thing. Austin Hayes really wanted to come back to the Reds, and the Reds had quite a bit of interest. And I think it was when you watched when all that came down, when he signed with the White Sox, he is a guy that they kind of got J.J. Bleday instead. And J.J. Bleday does a lot of the same things Austin Hayes kind of fits that same thing.
Yeah.
But now I think there's a chance that we see both Austin Hayes and Zach Littell back in Reds uniforms. I don't think that's too far-fetched, especially with some of the other moves that need to come.
That would be such a great sign. Like you said, just like the Suarez signing. But it does bring to light a question of someone who will be facing these types of decisions in the offseason. Tyler Stevenson.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that's going to depend on what the market is. And this offseason is, well, I hate to tell people this and remind them of this, but it's going to be a different offseason. It's going to be, if anybody remembers 21 to 22, where you have a lot of movement up until December 1st. And once December 1st happens, there can be no moves until a new CBA is reached. And God knows when that's going to happen. And so when that does finish up, then you're going to have a mad dash. And it's going to be, because if it leaks into spring training, which I would expect it at minimum to do, you have a lot of people who are then getting antsy and are going to have to find homes. And it's a musical chairs kind of thing. And it can go really quickly. Like it's musical chairs, but that ain't a waltz. That's going to be some metal. Just, Yngwie Malmsteen speed metal for the old folks out there. And that's going to be that kind of pace. And so anyway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I was just diving down Baseball Reference, of course. Adam Serwanowski, part of that trade with I think it was Littell.
That was someone they did not want to give up. They did not want to give up.
About him.
They really needed someone. I was too. I watched a lot of him. Lefty, a lot of spin. I think That was one guy that they were really sad to give up, but they knew they needed to make those moves, and that happens sometimes. So you don't give up guys that because you think they stink. A lot of times you give up guys because that other team's going to drive a hard bargain, and it got them to the playoffs. That was one of those moves that they had to make the playoffs. And Serwanowski is I haven't even looked at what he's done, but
he struggled a little bit.
But has he?
Yeah, this year,
but
5.22 ERA.
He's a player. That's going to be one I think will be interesting to see down the line. Of course, I'm also the person who was really upset that they gave up on Stewart in the Scott Rowland trade and was fine with Edwin Encarnacion going elsewhere. And Edwin Encarnacion ended up being worth a lot.
Yeah, but I don't think he was going to – that would have happened in Cincinnati. I think his time was done in Cincinnati.
No.
The Blue Jays had a couple turnaround projects, not just Edwin, who became power hitting.
And he also got DFA'd, by the Blue Jays, and then was picked up by a couple other teams and kind of went through that after his first stint there, and then finished up back with the Blue Jays, and that was pretty big. Sometimes it is just where you are and what you're going to hear.
Yeah. That was a tough one. There was a lot of excitement for him initially, but he just really plateaued. I felt like his time in Cincinnati was over. So
this is that time of year, AJ. It is baseball's time to shine, and it is SeatGeek's time to shine with MLB tickets and finding the best pricing, seating, and games that are even sold out available on SeatGeek.
Absolutely. If you want to go to the biggest matchups coming up, we have Yankees Cubs coming up. There's Yankees Red Sox. It means stuff again. There's some big moments that are coming up here, and as the pennant chases really heat up, go to SeatGeek and find those green tickets with the best deals and get yourself out to an MLB game.
Yeah, and they're straightforward with you. They will actually put a red dot next to a ticket that they don't feel is your best look. Green dot means very good. Code for you. It's Territory 10. 10% off your next set of MLB tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off MLB tickets when you use the promo code Territory10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later.
A couple other things to touch base on here, Trent. Hunter Green, of course, big news with the injury. Yeah. We shared a video that of you with Nick Krall, updating everybody on what was going down. But an injury update that I think hasn't gotten as much discussion is Blake Dunn. Blake Dunn was 60-day.
He had Tommy John. Yeah, he had Tommy John surgery. Talk to Blake a little bit about it. Blake, he knows where he is. He's right. It's his right elbow, but it was not full Tommy John. Actually, he got the internal brace, which he said, he was talking to his doctor, Dr. Keith Meister, who is one of the leading orthopedic surgeons, and Meister was noting to him that it was a lot like Corey Seager. Corey Seager had that and was ready in 6 months. So getting it now, Dunn said he feels pretty good about not just being able to be ready for spring training if there's spring training is on time, but by the time it gets to December 1st, and this is something people forget about with the lockout, he's going to be in a good enough space where he'll be through some of the rehab where it's a lot of just the repetitive stuff, because after December 1st, if there is a lockout, which there will be, he can't work with the Reds training staff or use their facilities or anything. He's got a place in Arizona. He's going to be rehabbing there, but he will not be able to use those resources, any of the major league resources from the rehab guys on down, once they are locked out. So that is tough, but getting it done now and being able to get it done means that he will be kind of on his way through recovery and his rehab and be throwing by then and have a good program to go with. So yeah, that's a guy they've missed, but because he's just a good platoon type player.
He's a glue guy,
speedy player, plays hard. We were talking about all-around athletes. I mean, I think he was a 5-sport guy, really good football player, good basketball player, just a phenomenal athlete.
Power,
So,
speed,
yeah.
yeah. Glove. I mean, yeah, he won, minor league player of the year at one point for the Reds, and is the only player I've interviewed in a professional dugout, AAA.
Huh?
So,
there you go.
love
You
us some
tried with
Blake
Joey
Dunn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, do we want to do a couple of these questions? Because we teased.
Let's do it.
You kind of started
Yeah.
there. Kitty at Kitty Twitter. Crawl was understandably vague on Green's current injury, but is there a sense that 2027 may be in danger at all? I think there is. Nick, they got their first opinion. He saw, he got an MRI at Beacon on, today is what, Thursday, so Wednesday. He went there. Their doctors, of course, had their opinion. And like with all these things, like I was just saying with Blake Dunn, he went to Keith Meister as well. Some of these guys are more comfortable with other doctors. I'm more comfortable with my doctor than I am with maybe a random doctor. I think we forget about that. Like, it is a comfort level. And with Hunter Green, he has worked with Dr. Neil Elatrash in Los Angeles, who's again, when you're talking about pantheon of guys in this business, Elatrash is certainly at the top. Comes from the he's actually, I think he was he the attending when my brother-in-law did his fellowship at Kerwin Jobe. So my brother-in-law has known Elatrash forever. My brother-in-law's already retired, but he was an orthopedic surgeon, but has worked with Elatrash, one of the most respected guys out there. So Hunter went out there today and is going to see him. I'm not reporting anything. He's maybe just seen him. He was supposed to see him this afternoon in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles afternoon time. It could be a second Tommy John. I mean, I'm not saying that. It's a guy who's already had it. I'm not saying that that's what I know or anything, but as a possibility, there is a chance that he does not pitch in 2027. There's also a possibility there is no 2027 season, so it wouldn't be the worst timing. But yeah, that's a real possibility, and we shall see. And it's also like, I think people forget that medicine is not an exact science. Like speaking of a guy I was writing a story about today that hopefully will go up tomorrow, TJ Antone. I mean, like, here's a guy I was lucky enough that TJ, Doc Kremchek, and others let me observe his third elbow surgery. And with that,
wow,
he put in the internal brace and did all these things. And it's funny. I'll always remember this. I don't know if I've told you about this, and I wanted to write this in a story, and it never just quite figured. But I remember going in that morning, and I went into the pre-op prep, talking to TJ and Kelsey Antone. And I was like, well, what'd you guys do last night? Like, knowing this, and this morning, or no, it's that morning. While they were waiting, they have like a TV on there, and it had like Netflix, and they were watching Is It Cake? You know that show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But quite honestly, for a lot of these elbow surgeries, especially the revision, which is when you go back in after somebody's had Tommy John, like what Dr. Remchek was saying and what other people have said to me is it's a lot like that. You do not know until you're in there. Imaging can only give you so much.
Right.
It is when you go and you actually see those ligaments and those tendons and all that. And so, like, I was in there, and like I remember going in, and I asked Doc before the operation. I said, well, how long is it going to be? He goes, I don't know, because you just don't know till you're in there.
Right.
And once he got in there, he kind of saw good stuff. He saw the right signs that some of the things were still intact and they're strong, the tendon. So he kind of did the revision and added the brace, the internal brace, to strengthen it and kind of do it. But like, his point was, you don't know until you cut. You can have all the imaging inside, but that can hide things.
Sure.
And so to look on it there is, that's when you finally know. And so I remember him coming out, came in, and TJ was still under anesthesia, and he came into this little room, talked to Kelsey Antone and I, and was just like, hey, I really liked what I saw. I think this is a good sign. And, and then another thing, this is what I was writing about, was last night, Wednesday night, TJ Antone set his career high in innings as a major leaguer.
That's awesome.
And after 3 TJs, it's pretty amazing. So I've also talked to, that was my other joke in that waiting room, was I always thought Homer Bailey had the worst name for a pitcher until TJ. But, you
That's
do
funny.
have Tommy John Protocol.
Yeah.
This is TJ Antone's book. We're going to have TJ on at some point to talk about it. TJ's, he got bumped for Joey Votto. So I'm sorry, TJ.
It happens.
Yeah. So, and then my bookmark is this old TJ Antone
Old Bowman
thing
first.
But it shows his elbow uncut. Pristine elbow.
That's rare.
Versus, this is actually, it's great. The cover, when he was talking about it, they did like clip art and whatever, and he was like, finally, like, why don't I just take a picture of my elbow?
Yeah.
And so that is actually his elbow. So it's really funny to me that what I kind of have in here is his elbow before and after. And so it's pretty funny. Other really cool thing, we'll get into this when we talk to TJ, but
Is that 2015, that Bowman first?
I think so, something like that.
Which would make him
2014.
Probably Bowman draft 2014, like December. I'm a big Bowman collector. I love the Bowman cards, and I know we have somebody in the comments here. We have Liquid Sports Cards, which is one of my favorite sports card shops in Cincinnati. Those are some really good guys. So,
nice. I haven't been.
Oh yeah, no, they're great. Yeah, we should link up over there. But yeah, that's cool, and it does make me worry though, Trent, because
Liquid, you guys want to sponsor? We'll talk about it. We'll do that.
Oh man, we could do some rips. We could do all kinds of stuff with Liquid.
Yeah, dude. If Liquid wants to do some rips with us, that'd be fun.
Dude, okay, so I approached them, I think in October or September. I had bought a ton of Sal Stewart's cards because I love them. After we saw him in Dayton, I was like, man, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun kid to follow. So I bought up a bunch of his cards, and I typically with Bowman, how it works is there's a very big bump when they get promoted to the MLB.
Sure.
And so I reached out to them and I was like, hey guys, I have a ton of these cards. I have like a partial rainbow. And they were like, yeah, maybe. And we kind of didn't get there, but Sal Stewart's cards exploded. They exploded almost like Ellie's did, but not quite. And they've kind of chilled out a little bit since then, but it's interesting. I don't think TJ's followed that exact same curve.
No, but still pretty cool.
Very cool.
I won't tell you. I did not spend a whole bunch of this on eBay, but yeah, it's not like I showed the Ricky Karcher card right once. The Topps Now.
Yeah. That's a good one. No, I saw it, Trent, but I doubt the people who are watching this right now have seen it. That's an all-time card.
But the other cool Topps Now. Shoot, I thought it was here. Never mind.
Ricky Karcher's. So Trent's gonna find this card if he can. This is one of my favorite Reds cards because it's got one game on it, one MLB game.
His lone game.
Yeah.
And I don't have many signed cards because I just don't ask for autographs or whatever. But this one was a little special that because it's him and Kurt Casale, and so Kurt Casale signed it for me because I bought 2 and I told Kurt that it existed. He had no idea, and I was like, "Oh, I'll send you one." I got a request if you could send me back. I'll send you both, and if you could sign one and send it back to me, that'd be awesome. And so he did, and it was like he wrote in an inscription of exactly what he said, which was, "We got to work on your fastball command." And so it's hilarious. I say how much I love it, but I can't find it right off the top. I did find my Gunnar Stockton though. Gunnar Stockton action.
Oh, let's see that. There it is.
And then actually I pulled
Chrome.
this. This was really cool. I bought one of, I don't remember which set this was, but it was one of the new ones. Bought one pack, and this was in it.
Said
David
autograph?
Ortiz,
What?
autographed and game used.
What?
So that's pretty cool.
What year was what year is that, or what set is that
It was
from?
this year. This was like I think the Topps Archives, maybe.
You bought a
Is that
single
what it is,
pack and opened. You ripped an autographed game used David Ortiz, dude. That's crazy.
Not
That's
only
crazy.
not only is it game used and autographed, it's also numbered. So it's on the rainbow. It's 2 of 10.
Oh
10.
my god, dude! What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I got a Cliff Floyd autographed Marlins card in like 2003 Topps when I was a kid, and it was the coolest thing I'd ever gotten in my life. And then until then, or since then, I think I've opened up a couple hobby packs, which is like a guaranteed auto. It's the only other time I've gotten one. So the fact that you ripped a single pack is nuts.
Off a hanger pack. Hangers are bangers.
Hangers are
That's what
bangers.
actually Tyler Stevenson told me. He's a big card collector.
Is he really?
So.
Hangers are bangers.
Oh yeah.
Tyler has an out of 10 clear acetate card, rookie card that at least it was on eBay for a while. I almost got it, but if he doesn't have one, he should snatch that up. But yeah, liquid cards are still in the chat. It looks like. What's going on, guys? Yeah, Trent, the Reds Daily guys, we've gone to a lot of the card shows, and we just because we like it, and that's where we met these guys. Aren't you guys doing a autograph signing coming up here soon? Or maybe you just did one with some of the guys. But yeah, we'll have to see what you guys say. But yeah, no, Trent, the coolest cards I have though is the year before Reds Daily got started. I have to put my obsession somewhere. And I collected 2022 Joey Votto's cards. I collected virtually the entire rainbow. I'm talking about 124 variations of like 126. And I'm going to frame it like a Warhol because it's all these colors. It looks really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I think of it like kind of like art, but I had to cut myself off after that, man, because that it's something else. So
mine is my holy grail that I got for, I think it was my 11th birthday, and I still have it. Not like right here, but the George Brett rookie. So yeah, I still love purple and green together because of the card. I think
you didn't stick it in your bike, and make the moped sound.
Oh no, this was the 80s. We knew that's how I was going to retire. That and my whole host of Greg Jeffries rookie cards.
Oh my god, dude! You'd be surprised. 80s cards are kind of coming back around. Like finally,
seen that.
Finally,
I've got probably a literal ton of them. So,
hey, we could definitely do a whole show. I could do a daily show on sports cards, and especially it's not going to surprise you. I've collected Reds cards. Pretty much exclusively. I
did like when I was a kid, it was all about George Brett cards. So I had but that was before we had numbered and all these inserts and all that. And so I just had everything up until 92.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Well, cool. Trent, I think that's pretty much everything we've got for today. Let's take a look here. We coming up
75 set. You're my birth too, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude. The 70s cards are fun, just with the Reds, of course, too. Not to keep bringing it back to the Reds on this Reds podcast, but yeah, my dad. It all came from my dad. My dad loved sports cards, so he's got them. Even as a kid, he loved the history of it. So he's got the Jackie Robinsons, the Hank Aaron's, the small Bowmans, and these are beat though, man. These are beat. But they're still in his original binder, which is also not the correct way to store them, but it's the right way to store them, So, looking ahead, Mr. Rosecrans, let's take a look here to the next series that the Reds have. It is against the Nationals. It's against the Nationals Friday through Sunday. So at Nationals Park.
Team that just fell behind the Reds in the wild card chase.
Yep, 1 game behind the Reds. This would be good. This would be good for the Reds to keep it going. Chase Burns at 12 straight wins in decisions, and 13 would make him the first Red since 1956. So something to watch coming up tomorrow. Okay, so it says TBA, but I think, is it Singer?
TBD. No. Tomorrow's going to be Luis May. It's the bullpen game.
Right. Yep, it's the bullpen session. Or bullpen game.
Or if you're listening on the podcast, that's later tonight.
That would be right. So
it's a bullpen game.
Yep. Let's see here. So yeah, that's about it. I think the one last thing we have here, Trent.
Nick Lodolo is going to pitch Tuesday in Chicago. So he'll be back Tuesday. I hadn't looked today what Brandon Williamson was supposed to be pitching tonight. So, that's one thing. Like, they're down a guy, but Lodolo coming back, Williamson possibly coming back. Again, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Zach Littell was back at some point. So, this is a team that's doing what they've got to do.
Well, and Marinaccio pickup, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Ron Marinaccio?
Yeah. So he'll be there I bet he pitches either tomorrow or Saturday because they're going to need bullpen help. And the other thing is, the only guys with options, that's another thing. Marinaccio, I think, still has options. They don't have optionable pitchers.
Gotcha.
Except for the two they picked up today. Other than that, it was May and Zach Maxwell. That's why you haven't and now Chase Petty, I think, has been up and down enough that it's I think he might have run up against the options limit now. So good for Chase Petty because he's earned it.
Do you think Ron Marinaccio is this going to be like a McCrambly, a Lebrant type of guy? He comes in and he's gonna, even if he gets shelled, he's gonna go eat those innings, and that might be it for him.
I mean, he's 26, so he's 31, so he's a guy that has been around, and he may be out of options. Probably is, actually, now that I look at it. But I know the other guy they picked up today, I think has options. The guy Chase Selesky from the Rays. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look up on both of those, but that is something just to keep in mind, that a lot of these moves, when you don't have options, you have fewer options.
That is something to say, Trent, we should probably look at in the future, is that it does feel like a gap in AAA. You've got a lot of talent, it feels like, in AA, and even, high A, but it'll be interesting to see if, depending on the way the season goes, how that could affect, these younger guys. So real quick, guys, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, smash that subscribe button. We've even got a custom graphic for you guys. We're at 809 when we started this broadcast today. So who knows, Trent? Maybe we're at 1,000. We've gone,
hopefully,
for quite some time. So hit subscribe. We are the fastest growing Reds podcast right now. So thank you, first of all, but let's keep it going. Tell your friends, keep sharing, and we can keep doing really cool things. We're the only podcast with a former player as a co-host, and so it's and then of course Trent Rosecrans has the insider access, and I just I'm a memes guy at Reds Daily.
You're just pretty.
Hey,
we're up to 811.
811. So yes, hit subscribe, guys, if you haven't already. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back this week to keep talking Cincinnati Reds, and hey, hopefully the Reds keep winning, and we can keep that